Polyunsaturated fats are the only essential fats. And it seems like we shouldn't have to say that because that is pretty much common knowledge. It's well known, it's well understood, because when people go look up what essential fats are, again, essential fats meaning your body cannot make them entirely on its own. It requires them in your diet. That it's always polyunsaturated fats. In other words, your body actually has no dietary requirements or needs for any other type of fat. Now, when I make that statement, that doesn't mean that you should never eat those things. Okay, because there can be health benefits to things like different monounsaturated fats, and in fact, it would be virtually impossible to eat a diet where your fats are only polyunsaturated fats. Now, if your diet's really balanced, they could be up to about half, right? And we do need them in our diet. But people make this big deal about this. They act like when they say things like there's no essential of this, but there's an essential of this. They act like it's some profound statement when they don't have any actual practical applications. And generally, the people you see who promote that idea that they're only essential fats want you to eat a really high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet. The problem is the fats that they're consuming are not essential for the most part. They're advocating consuming non-essential fats that your body can make just fine that are themselves linked to a variety of health issues. And we need to be clear that other than the one specific polyunsaturated fat, arachidonic acid, polyunsaturated fats are not linked to any negative health outcomes, barring maybe excess calories if you were to consume enormous amounts of them. But given the nature of them, even those problems would still be lower than consuming an equal amount of other types of fat. So we do need to be clear in that. Out of the dozen or so polyunsaturated fats that exist, remember they're all omega-3 and omega-6, the only one that's really negatively linked with any health outcomes that are problematic is arachidonic acid. Okay, so we need to be clear on that. But even then, in small amounts, it's actually beneficial. Okay, your body actually does have a very small need for trace amounts of it. It's when it gets too high, it can create its own set of inflammatory problems and things. Okay, but keeping it from getting too high is actually easy if you just skip certain foods. But the thing that's interesting, the same people who are so insistent upon, we have essential fats in our diet, are the ones who tend to be afraid of polyunsaturated fats. This is the same crowd that don't eat grains, don't eat nuts, don't eat seed oils. But you're the ones harping on about essential fats. What do you think the high sources of essential fats are? Okay, and it's really ludicrous. But the truth is, those are the ones that we need. We do not have a dietary requirement for others. And in fact, when we're consuming polyunsaturated fats, plenty of data all around the world absolutely and positively indicates that it's beneficial to our health to consume these. They can even be a substantial part of your calories and still be healthy. And again, when compared to all other fats, we need to be clear. Every single study that takes groups and replaces any other type of fat or any refined carbohydrate with polyunsaturated fats, just in general, health outcomes improve. Inflammation improves, insulin sensitivity improves, even fat burning, fat oxidation improves. Okay? These are your healthy fats. So when we talk about them, this is the primary ones, and then to some extent, some types of monounsaturated fats are linked to very positive health outcomes. However, those are slightly reduced, and keeping in mind our body can produce monounsaturated fats out of other things. Okay? So we do need to be aware that we can actually make any saturated fat or monounsaturated fat that we want. We can make them out of polyunsaturated fats just fine. So we don't actually have to have them in our diet, but there can be some benefits to some monounsaturated fats, and particularly the foods themselves that are rich in them oftentimes have some polyphenols and things that are of benefit. And I think that's really the thing that we have to look at with these things too, because most of us shouldn't be supplementing fats. We shouldn't be supplementing these things in an extract form anyways. We need to be eating foods. And we do need to look at, hey, what is the total nutritional benefit of the food as a whole that we are consuming when we're talking about these things. But on this topic, we do need to be aware that all of your essential fats, all of them, are polyunsaturated. So we do need to be clear on that. And this idea that we need to fear them, and I'm not saying we shouldn't know which ones are better or worse or what the needs are for certain ones, but that actually gets really complicated. And it turns out the ones that are truly essential, we actually have a very, very small need for. And we can make those out of the other ones. People point out, well, that's done at a low conversion rate, like ALA, to make these others. Yeah, but if you consume a decent amount of it, it doesn't matter that conversion is low, because there are specific health benefits to even that omega-3. There are health benefits to consuming it seen in the lab. Okay? And you can get it from anything from walnuts to flax seeds to soy and tofu, right? In very, very significant amounts. So again, easily consumable, healthy fat, and you can make those out of it. Again, it's just if your intake of that is really low, sure, you might be a little low, and then you might need a more complete source. But again, the context, you need trace amounts of those things, right? You need very trace amounts. So again, understand, and we have to be clear that there is actually no requirement to consume some of these other fats. Some of them can be healthy to consume, others are not linked with positive health. There is essentially almost no health marker that improves by adding saturated fat to your diet. And I'll even point out to people like, okay, what about bulking and gaining? It's like, yeah, but if you weren't trying to gain body fat, like if you're really trying to bulk up, it can be useful there, but keeping in mind, it reduces insulin sensitivity and other stuff. It is not actually even the best fat sources to be consuming if you're trying to make lean gains, okay? So that kind of debunks the problems with all of that. When we're like, but these certain foods, they really boost muscle protein synthesis in the lab years ago. Yeah, but they were ultra high quality protein foods with a ton of calories, and some of those calories coming from saturated fat. And those are specifically whole milk and whole eggs, okay? Those are the foods that we're talking about. And I've actually run into problems with clients who are like, but they're superfoods and they help me bulk, but then they're wanting to get leaner and they're still above 20% body fat and struggling, but they don't want to cut the whole milk and the eggs out of their diet, right? Or reduce them. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.